The human design body graph is like sheet music. So if we're looking at the body graph, it gives us a mechanical blueprint, an energetic blueprint in a mechanical form. We're looking at the mechanics of our construct, our filter of consciousness. Now, you don't necessarily need to see this blueprint to live in the world, to operate in the world. However, with there being so much influence around us, we can't always be sure that the way that we're being is authentic and true to the song that we sing, the song that is scripted in the energetic blueprint or the like sheet notes, the sheet music. We may be influenced by what's around us, and it might corrupt our song. So if we were a musician and we wanted to learn a song that was someone else's song, we would get some sheet music, or we would get them to write down the notes, and we would be able to see how it goes, and there would be rests and pauses, and how when it went louder and when it went softer, and these intricacies that would help us or would demonstrate how the song goes. Someone who knew how to read sheet music really well would be able to hear and feel the song just by reading the music on the sheet. And that is how it is with human design. When a human design analyst is so familiar with the mechanics and have studied the dynamics of the charts, and it's not just reading the charts, it's reading the charts and it's experimenting, it's meeting people, it's asking questions, it's getting feedback, it's understanding yourself, and it's understanding all of the interactions when you have clients, your friends, your family. You're always looking at those dynamics within a relationship and really seeing how it shows up and how it plays in the real world and what it really looks like. And then there's so many varying points of differentiation and just how unique that all looks. And so we bring that into the analysis when we're reading a chart, and just like a musician can read a composition and get that feeling of how the song goes, it's how an analyst can read the body graph and get that sense, get that feeling of like how this system moves. Of course, always alongside getting feedback from the client. But the more that we do that, the more we kind of get that experience of, I guess it's, I always use the word fortifying, but it continues to feed into, I suppose, evidence or experiential evidence that the body graph really does show us a very, very interesting and accurate representation. It really does ring true as the mechanics of our energetic system. So it's interesting as well with art, say for instance, and I'm always talking about the individual, but with art and maybe abstract art or expressive art, we may see things that look quite crude or rushed or easy, and people will say, oh, it looks like my kid did that, or, you know, what is the value of this, or we don't really get it, or like anyone can do that, it's just like blue on a page, whatever. There's like an undermining going on. But then if we either meet the artist or we hear context around how and why it was created, and we build that story that supports like what the message or the art is communicating, then we can start to see these different layers of actually the art is very good, actually that picture really does provide something, oh wow, that's really interesting. It's like having that context that we need. And again, that kind of works the same way with human design and art and artists and creatives and musicians. People's expression can be wild, extreme, abrasive, dissonant, discordant, You know, it can be ill-timed or strange timing or really like rubber great on a grinderness. And I'm just using all of these negative things because these are kind of polarizing, or what pushes people away, or we have a lot of judgment or criticisms. But when we come and look at the sheet music, when we come and have a look at the blueprint and the human design body graph, we can start to see the context, the relationship, the correlation, like how, like what are these mechanics actually doing, which then are causing this. This is how consciousness is being filtered, and it can look extreme, it can look dissonant, discordant, it can have timing, you know, it can be quite isolating or alone. There can be a lot of caution or rejection. There can be struggle in there. There can be crisis in there. We can get caught in our heads, feeding ourselves or trying to get to the bottom of things and answer questions. And I'm really just skipping wildly all over the body graph with my examples of things that we may see actioning in the world and from a person, which we might feel like is wrong. There's something wrong. And then we develop like complexes around things, and we stop expressing to our fullest capacity, and we start shutting down aspects of ourselves because it doesn't feel like that's how like a good human runs. Like that's, you know, that's not good behavior. It's not correct behavior, not right. And when I say correct in this context, I mean like it's not socially approved, or, you know, maybe it's too unique and it's not recognized, or maybe the behavior is a dysfunction. And we see that again, I'm going a bit further, like ADHD and autism and things like that, like we see as these dysfunctions. And also like you can go down to health issues across the board, allergic responses and reactions, issues with every one of our organs. I'm talking about literally every single thing that can occur in the human body. All different types of fatigue, different types of neediness. Like I literally like just think of everything, just get a medical dictionary and it's everything is related to an aspect of ourself. We can see it all in the body graph, all in the chart, and we can pull the story together, and we can understand the context and the correlation as to why a person is having a certain experience or why they're expressing the way that they are. And it really helps a person individually, as a family, in relationships, to gain this perspective and this context around why a person is the way that they are, and that there isn't anything wrong with them. Every aspect within us has a shadow, a gift, and a city. The shadow being like, you know, what we recognize as a darker aspect. Like this, I'm still like, I don't even know. I'm trying to avoid it. It's not dark. Like it's just, I don't know. It's an aspect that is less developed. Let's go with that. It's like a less developed aspect is the shadow. It's kind of like how it comes out of the bag. And it doesn't have a lot of awareness or kind of prep to it or refinement. It's kind of just like it's splattered out and it needs to grow. And that shadow does grow into a gift. And then that gift is something that the person has to offer to the world. And then, of course, the city is that full highest realization where that aspect is really matured through a cycle. And now we are really offering something quite incredible. This axis continuously cycles in the life. Like we don't ever lose the shadow or go like leave it completely. And in fact, it's really important that we understand that experience within the shadow and really shine love on it, and like, you know, pour love into it and really accept it. Part of that is that growth to the gift in the city, and we'll sit less in that shadow if we really, you know, pour into it with compassion, and we see the value and how it migrates to the gift and the city, and we'll constantly be moving through those. So we've got all of these different aspects, and they all have that within the body graph, within our personal like behavior, our personality, our unconscious, the subconscious. So many of these different interactions between shadow, gift, and city on so many different levels, about so many different things. This is related to the 64 I Ching within the body graph. And in reading that, we get to see so much nuance about the relationship, you know, the streams and the pressure, and where we're really open to influence, particularly where we're really like fixed, where we can cultivate how we can express them. It's not that a person needs to have that body graph or that understanding to be themselves. If you are feeling very, you know, we talk about alignment a lot and attunement. If you're feeling in flow, everybody has a way or a state that they would naturally feel in flow. And when you're feeling in that, you will, like, whoever you are, like you, and whatever your design is, there will be some type of beat or resonance, or movement in your life where you go from space to space, you're moving, whatever it is, right? And it'll be your song. Wherever you're moving, do you know what I mean? And like I'm accidentally doing everything in time because I have that. But like it can be discordant, like your movements will be perfect for you. And it's about like feeling that in syncness with where you want to be, where you want to go, where you are. And that's where our themes come in with human design. Are you feeling more satisfaction or frustration? And using that frustration to kind of let you know what's important to you and how to like move towards that satisfaction. For instance, that's the generator type, or the manifesting generator will have that. The projector will have a theme of success or bitterness. So they'll feel really successful, and they'll understand what that means for them when they're in their flow state, and they can use the theme of bitterness to help direct them into the right place, like get the invitations that they need. We've got surprise or disappointment for our reflectors. They'll either be constantly feeling surprised and in awe of the world when they're moving in the right spaces and directions, and again in time with their flow. It's like finding the slipstream of life, and things just open up and there's less resistance. And we've got our manifestors, and their theme is anger when they're like pushing up against something that is kind of stopping them. And what is their positive theme? I'm totally forgetting what it is. Peace. The manifestor will feel peace, and at peace. And again, I'm like going into a few different tangents, but within a body graph, there are different channels that are available that a person can have fulfilled in the channels, or even the gates that are highlighted in their chart. And they will experience all of these themes in different places and in different ways because of their various activations that they have. But you go back to your real type, and you will have one specific type, and that'll be your main theme to pay attention to. But so you can go without this knowledge and still be able to sing your tune, and you will know if you feel in alignment, because you will have that beat, that flow, that you know, pace, that the least resistance movement. Like things open up, there's an opening, and you will feel that. And you will settle back into surrender at times, receptivity at times, you know, that masculine and feminine balance will be there. You will be harmonizing with life. You will be in pitch with what's around you. You won't constantly be jarred and, you know, exposed to the static of the world. It will feel like you're in the right place at the right time and around the right people. Okay, that's like, people will say that's a dream, that's a dreamscape, right? That's not real life. But I disagree. I totally disagree. I think that each one of us can find that place for us, and that is resonance. That is true resonance. And each one of us that makes the step towards being in that right place enables those next to us to go on their own path, to find their own place, and to help each other harmonize. And if you can imagine every person, everybody in the world, I know that might be a dream, but like those of us who are able to commit to this mission and live by our values and convictions. Sorry, I'm just like having this mad tangent, but coming back to like the song that we get to sing, as it is most true for us. Life does have flow. It will flow. It will feel aligned. You will trust. There will be an inherent trust. You will just be like, I have faith now. That faith doesn't have to be put in anything external. It doesn't have to be put in a God. It doesn't have to be put in a faith, like as in a religion, as in something else that you rely on. It comes back into the fire of you. It comes back into the heart of you. It comes back into your connection to the universe and to source. And in doing that, it is actually supporting everybody else in, you know, if you want to call it unity, consciousness, but it is supporting the field, and it is supporting everyone around you. And, you know, it really is cleaning up. We're talking about kind of like cleaning up where there is influence and noise that can get into those open aspects. So that is how human design, and studying the BodyGraph specifically and looking at it and having a relationship to it and constantly coming back to it and learning it, it's like reading the sheet music, which enables you to understand how the song really goes. And as you recognize that, you read your chart and you recognize that in yourself, you keep coming back into like that more aligned state. It is more joy, more peace, more satisfaction, just more trust and success and awe. And we get all of those themes coming through. Doesn't mean that those the polarity, the other side of the theme never comes in, but we come to understand like what it means when we feel frustrated, and what is that frustration telling us. Sometimes I speak clearly from frustration because my theme is, as a manifesting generator, is satisfaction and frustration, and so I get to feel and now I recognize that frustration sometimes is telling me to get the hell away. Frustration sometimes is telling me to dig in. Frustration doesn't always mean I'm going the wrong way, because I look at my whole chart and I understand that I need, or I have, focus and aspects of detail. So sometimes my frustration tells me that I need to learn more skills in order to enable the next step of my expression, and that those technical details with my hands, or, you know, the communication between what I vision and what my ideas are and how I present those, that frustration can sometimes come up when I'm pushing through technical skills in order to learn how to communicate and express the idea. So that frustration isn't always a bad sign. That frustration can tell me that I need to double down or dig in. And, you know, sometimes the frustration does say this is not right for me, but more often the sign that things aren't right, or like the sign that I should be going in a different direction, is really more to do with my energy and whether the energy picks me up and takes me somewhere or not. And has less to do with the frustration and the satisfaction. But now I've diverged quite a bit, but hopefully coming back to this explanation and this just side by side, that if it makes sense that, you know, we could learn a song or understand the feeling and the context and the notion of musical output by reading sheet music, then it really is a lot like reading a body graph and being able to understand for a person like the context of who they are. And it's just that reassurance and that ability to trust in your actual actions, to trust in your actions, to trust in your path in life. If it looks different, if other people haven't done it before, if you're treading your own unique path, if you're going to do things your own way, if you're here to pioneer, innovate, or create, or you just naturally make things that are discordant or dissonant, and it's not easy to put the time into the creativity or put the time into being alone in order to make what you need to make, because there's no perceived value to anyone else. But this is where I come in with my sort of like protective energy. I really I desire to create the space which is protective, which has a protective field for people to be able to digest the information that they've soaked in and take the time to make the creations and get the expression out, because it is, you know, linked to health. It's linked to our body and how we're processing information. And it helps us if particularly people who are noticing chronic issues or particular health issues, rather than have that be the end of the story and you're told like this is this and that is that, and you know, by a health professional, which I just think is so funny, because I think they are so limited in their understanding, which may be science-based, and but I think it's extraordinarily limited to assess something from a physical only perspective without addressing a person's individuality, or, you know, I'm looking at their human design chart, looking at their emotional system, looking at triggering events. I think it all has to be assessed. And yeah, I think it's a scam to take someone's money, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, to just do something physical, to cut them, or, you know, some kind of interference with the body, to give medications which just put a whole system out of kilter without addressing what the root cause is, and we can see it in the mechanics. So, yeah, that's why human design brings a lot of clarity, and the body graph itself is designed to bring that kind of clarity. So if you can understand how your song really goes, you can start to step into it with more confidence, and you know, be aware of what, you know, you can look at the shadows, the gift and the city of each aspect and start to understand how to travel through into those higher levels, or to those other more exalted levels, and how the shadow actually serves that process. And so, yeah, this whole thing is just an encouragement to bring that kind of side by side into awareness, that the body graph really is like reading sheet music. So with that being said, I'm about to go into my class and have a beautiful day. Bye.